There are voices in this world that don't just fill a room, they fill the hollow places inside you. And if you've ever stood in an arena, closed your eyes, and felt three young men from Italy reach straight into your chest and rearrange something there, then you already know what it means to have experienced Il Volo live. Welcome back, dear friends and music lovers. Whether you've followed Piero, Gianluca, and Ignazio since the very beginning or you're only now discovering the extraordinary depth of what they carry onto every stage, what you're about to read is for you. This is not just a story about music. This is a story about courage, pain, love, and the extraordinary human decision to keep singing, even when everything inside you is screaming to stop. Because what most audiences never see, beyond the golden light and the soaring high notes, are the silent battles. The nights when the body said no, but the heart said forward. The moments backstage that the cameras didn't catch. And yet, somehow, night after night, city after city, country after country, Il Volo showed up. For you. Always for you. There was a night in Buenos Aires that longtime fans still talk about in hushed, reverent tones. The stadium was electric, tens of thousands of voices humming with anticipation, when Piero stepped to the edge of the stage and paused. Just paused. The crowd fell silent so suddenly it felt like the whole city held its breath. And then he sang, not the opening note of a rehearsed performance, but something raw, something pulled from a deeper place. Fans described the moment as watching someone choose music over everything else. Many in the audience were seen wiping tears before the first chorus even arrived. Did you feel this moment too, even watching from thousands of miles away? Across the ocean, in a sold-out arena in Madrid, Ignazio faced the stage with what those closest to the tour described as quiet, determined grace. He had been unwell, the kind of physical exhaustion that doesn't stay politely in the background. Yet when the lights found him, something shifted. His voice that night carried a texture, a weight, that audiences in Spain said they had never heard from him before. There was grief in it, but there was also defiance. Viewers around the world who later watched clips shared how that performance stayed with them, how it sounded less like a concert and more like a confession. Have you ever felt music like this before, where you sensed the singer was giving you something irreplaceable? In Tokyo, the cultural distance between the audience and the performers dissolved in a single moment. Gianluca, known for his warmth and his natural ability to make a stadium feel like a living room, began speaking quietly between songs, slowly, carefully, with a gentleness that translated across every language barrier. The Japanese audience, famous for their respectful stillness, erupted into a wave of applause so tender it sounded almost like gratitude rather than celebration. The three men stood together on that stage looking out at a sea of lights held up by thousands of hands, and something unspoken passed between them. You could see it in the way they glanced at each other, a look that said, "This is why we do this." There was also a night in New York, Madison Square Garden draped in golden haze. When the trio performed through what sources close to the production described as an emotionally devastating week for all three of them. Personal losses, physical strain, the relentless weight of expectation. And yet the performance that night has been called one of the most transcendent of their entire career. When the final note of Grande Amore rang out and faded into that cavernous space, the silence before the standing ovation lasted nearly 7 seconds. 7 seconds where 20,000 people forgot to breathe. Which city's performance touched you the most? Was it New York? Was it somewhere else entirely? In Rome, their spiritual home, the city whose ancient stones seemed to vibrate with music, Il Volo performed under an open sky with the weight of their entire journey behind them. Piero's eyes glistened under the stage lights. Ignazio pressed his hand briefly to his heart between phrases. Gianluca's smile, always his armor and his gift, flickered for just a moment into something more vulnerable, more real. The audience, many of whom had followed these three since they were teenagers, seemed to understand instinctively that they were witnessing not just a performance, but a reckoning. Fans described the atmosphere as sacred. And perhaps it was. There were smaller moments too. A cancelled rehearsal turned into an impromptu acoustic session for waiting fans outside an arena in Paris, where tired voices found their warmth again in the simplest way possible. And a night in Sao Paulo where, mid-performance, the emotion in the room became so overwhelming that the men on stage simply stood still, looked at each other, and laughed, not from joy alone, but from the particular relief of people who have carried something heavy and suddenly remember they don't carry it alone. What Il Volo has given the world across their tours is something that no streaming number can adequately capture. They have walked onto stages in pain, in grief, in exhaustion, and in doubt, and they have chosen, every single time, to give their audience the very best of themselves. They have sung in languages that weren't their own, in countries far from home, to strangers who became family the moment the music began. They have proven, night after breathtaking night, that music is not merely entertainment. It is the oldest bridge we have. And some bridges, built from passion and sacrifice and genuine love, hold forever. If this story moved you the way Il Volo's music moves you, leave a comment below and tell us which moment touched your heart the deepest. Subscribe if you believe music like this deserves to be celebrated, and share this with someone who needs to be reminded that beauty still exists in this world. Because it does. It always has. And it sounds exactly like this.